Let me start by saying yes, this video goes exactly how you think it goes. But first, some background info. Alcohol has been enjoyed by humans since pretty much the dawn of civilization, with discoveries hinting at fermented beverages going all the way back to 10,000 BC. And today, it's by far the most widely used recreational drug in the world. Of course, there are consequences though, with side effects including drunkenness, addiction, unconsciousness, or even death. Not to mention each year, 10,000 people on average are killed by drunk drivers in the US. But despite its serious dangers, booze is still around because when enjoyed moderately and responsibly, it's relatively safe compared to the other junk we stuff our faces with. And in low doses, reduces anxiety and improves sociability. In other words, humans drink because it's fun. Rocket League is also fun, and drinking and playing video games can go together pretty well. If you're a filthy casual, that is. But what if you're a sweaty tryhard? What if you don't just want to rank up, but need to rank up? What if you take this game way too seriously and want to do whatever you can to win, making sure nothing is holding you back? Well, then you probably shouldn't drink when playing Rocket League, right? Because there are a few other side effects from alcohol I haven't mentioned yet, and we'll be seeing that later. But what if some of those effects, like confidence and reduced anxiety, actually improve Rocket League ability? Pro athletes like Mickey Mantle were known for playing under the influence. He once said he saw 3 balls coming at him and just swung for the middle one. Sure, he ended up dying from his alcohol abuse, but that's beside the point. So at what point, if it exists at all, does alcohol go from helpful to just plain problematic in Rocket League? Today we're finding out. In this episode of SunlessKhan Does Stupid Things for Content, I'm going to be playing a series of 5 games under various stages of drunkenness to see how my playstyle and rank changes. I bought this breathalyzer so I could easily track exactly what my blood alcohol concentration was for each set of games. As usual, I'll be comparing the basic stats like wins, losses, goals, saves, etc., as well as any other relevant observations and notes that we discover. One thing to note, I have no promises that this test will be perfectly organized once I get into it, but I'm roughly shooting for 4 levels of inebriation. I'm actually kind of worried I'm going to lose all my progress since the soft rank reset, but rank be damned, this is for YouTube, which is obviously more important. And now that I've done the longest, most over-explained rambling setup ever, let's dive in and uncover Rocket League drunk versus Rocket League sober. The experiment was underway and I already made my first mistake, which was not warming up. Maybe my judgment was already impaired. But probably not, since we're starting out with a blood alcohol concentration of 0.043, which is described as no loss of coordination, slight euphoria, and a loss of shyness, relaxation, but depressant effects are not yet apparent. So this was basically slightly buzzed. First off, I was having quite a bit of fun, not just because I was drinking, but because I didn't really care what happened to my rank. I only cared about playing my best and having fun, which you'd think would come naturally in, a video game, but I was reminded I need to do this more and stop caring about winning so much. On the other hand, I was making stupid mistakes left and right, and overall playing pretty badly, but I did have some good moments. In this game, my opponents somehow missed this, and I awkwardly scored to tie it up with 10 seconds left. And then this happened. And we won. The other guys were not thrilled. So overall, for this first round, I had some okay goals, lots of close games, and almost no chat interaction. It was a good time, but I only had 2 wins and 3 losses. I remember thinking, wow, this is not good. If that was just the first stage, I could be in for a long night of losing. Little did I know how both right and wrong I was. It was time for stage 2. Stage 2 was crazy for a lot of reasons. This is kind of random, but I noticed later that I was on the orange team for every single one of these games. Doesn't mean anything, but it just added to the oddity of this round. I blew a .051, which is described as feeling of well-being, relaxation, lower inhibitions, and a sensation of warmth, euphoria, some minor impairment of judgment and memory, lowering of caution. So here I am in game 1 of round 2. I wouldn't describe my emotions as euphoric, as my teammate decided to have a casual conversation with our opponent while we were getting smacked around. This round was also the first time I realized I might not be the only one that was drinking and driving battle cars tonight. I also showed my first signs of more toxic behavior than usual. But I mean, look at this. These guys are on their heels, the ball is falling to me, and my teammate does this. But it didn't matter because I swear half my opponents in this round were drunk too, so I managed to win 3 out of my 5 games. So far, so good. Overall, I'd won 5 and lost 5. Hey, I thought confidently to myself, this isn't going so bad. Then round 3 happened. Round 3 came in at a .091, which means slight impairment of balance, speech, vision, reaction time, and hearing. Euphoria. reduced judgment and self-control, impaired reasoning and memory. All of these things couldn't have been truer in describing this round. When I lost, I really lost. And when I won, I really won. But I mostly lost. Things were definitely falling apart here in the mechanics department. I was also clearly getting more and more toxic, calling out this Season 9 GC even though he wasn't even there to read it. But moments like this are what made me way overconfident. I remember thinking I was an absolute god for this goal, which is kinda sad. Looking back at this game, I remember being really salty about this teammate, and after review, I have to say that was kinda justified. We had a nice little comeback going with this solid air dribble, but then I got thrown away because of that. See, I'm still salty even though I'm sober. Anyway, even with its few moments, this round was definitely a disaster. In this particularly bad trouncing, I decided to get poetic apparently. From dust we came, and from dust we shall return. I don't think that's quite how the verse goes. But yeah, I lost 4 games and managed to get carried in 1 game. This was going downhill fast, but it was nothing compared to the last round. Significant impairment of motor coordination and loss of good judgment. Speech may be slurred, balance, peripheral vision, reaction time, and hearing will be impaired. Euphoria is reducing, and beginning dysphoria, a state of feeling unwell. Not only is that the description for the .13 that I blew, it's also a perfect description of this round. I'm gonna get straight to the point. I didn't win a single game. Not only was I absolutely useless, I wasn't really having fun anymore. I was also getting really toxic. I mean, yikes. But hey, I told you the other people were drunk. And this guy wasn't even playing the whole game. So yeah, just an overall train wreck. But it was finally over. Oh my god. I feel great because I drank lots of water and got tons of rest, completely avoiding the effects of a hangover. Now let's talk about the results of this experiment. So here are my averages over the 5 games in each round. As you can see, most of the categories go up and down together. Generally, I did best in round 2 with the best record and highest goal average. Interestingly, I actually had more assists and saves in round 3 and way fewer shots. So it looks like I was starting to play really slow and defensively. My drunk Rocket League brain must have realized I was starting to miss everything and decided to just stay back more. But obviously it didn't work because we went 1-4 anyway. Clearly, in round 5, you can see the train wreck in the stats. I only scored 2 goals in 5 games, and like I said earlier, did pretty much nothing productive. So what did I learn from all this? I think the biggest surprise for me was how well I did in Stage 2. I really thought I would start okay and progressively get worse each round, but it really didn't get truly awful until Stage 3. Typically I play Rocket League too cautiously, so like I had predicted in the intro, the alcohol might have lowered some of that doubt and made me a little bit more aggressive. But that also means that another player who struggles with chasing too much when they're sober might have done much worse in Stage 2. The real problems were in Stage 3 and 4, when my reactions were slowed, my toxicity was maximized, and what little mechanics I have were stripped away. Rocket League is a game of lots of tiny important decisions, and it's no surprise that when something affects your decision making, things won't go well. For instance, if you think I normally go for boost over ball too much, in Stage 3 and 4 I was an absolute boost-eating monster, paying little attention to anything else. Also, looking back, I cringe on how much I typed and how much of a hypocritical asshole I was during this experiment, even though I knew I was doing it for a video. I hereby formally apologize to all my teammates. To my opponents, you're welcome for the free wins. In conclusion, even though I did fine, slightly buzzed, I think I'll avoid drinking when playing Rocket League, at least in ranked. I'm not saying this was a terrible experience, but I feel like I'm already so bad I don't really need anything else amplifying that, even if it made me a little bit more confident on the ball. I think I can work on that without having a drink, but I have to give credit to alcohol for helping me discover that. So thanks, alcohol. Also, screw you, alcohol. I hate you. So much.